Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Healing Conversations. My name is Einav Avni. I'm an energy healer and alignment coach. I mostly work with people suffering from chronic pain, chronic illness, or unexplained medical conditions. And this podcast is all about natural healing and alternative healing for people suffering with different ailments. Today with me is Annakarin Sjoberg. Try not to, with a surname, but welcome. It's really lovely to have you here. Hi.
Oh, thank you so much, Einav. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'm
Thank you.
originally from Sweden, hence the difficult surname, but I'm currently living in Marrakech, so I'm in both places.
Yeah. I'm really excited to hear more about you and about your story. So let's get started and tell us something, anything about you.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, the way we connected, I think it was about 6 months ago, is that we got chatting about my story, which was a natural healing from tumors in my lungs, which was quite a shock, really. Um, but somehow I managed to heal them completely naturally in a couple of months, actually, and I never even needed any treatments for them. So prior to the diagnose, I'd started the meditations of Dr. Joe Dispenza. About 6 months before that, I was going through a really stressful time, a really stressful divorce that was kind of leaving. It was affecting my way of life. It was affecting my business. All areas of my life was included. So it was very stressful. And I kept on having this dream that an American man was going to change my life, and I knew there was nothing personal in it. It was not like a romantic dream or anything, but um, something popped up, and it was Joe Dispenza, and I started following his meditations, and I knew there was something in that, so I started studying it, and I thought this is really interesting. Joe Dispenza is very much about how the mind controls the body and how our emotions and our thinking can heal and change our chemicals inside the body. So it's quite scientific, and the way he explains it is really thorough. But it's also quite out there if you're quite new for it. So I started those meditations, and then 6 months later, I had some pains in my stomach, um, and I got to do a scan because of that, and then they found two little noodles. No, sorry, one little noodle first in my lung, um, and they said it's probably nothing. A lot of people I spoke to said, there's you can have that from if you've had a lung infection or something. So I thought nothing about it, but they said, okay, in 6 months we're going to check you up again. And when they did, 6 months later, there was two of them, and they've grown quite big. So suddenly it became very serious, and I was rushed to the big hospital for big scans, and whew, yeah, it was really heartbreaking. And I've never smoked in my life, so there was nothing. I couldn't really see the reason why this has happened. And then I got to see a doctor, and he said, sadly in Sweden there's a long wait for the biopsy, and you're gonna have to wait 2 weeks. And that's when I felt something inside me that, uh, right, okay, if I'm gonna have to wait 2 weeks, I'm gonna use these 2 weeks very well. But I said to him, "Can I have 3 weeks?" He kind of looked at me, and I said, I'm about to travel to Morocco, which is my happy place. Um, and if you just give me 3 weeks, I just want to go there and feel really well. That's what I said to him. But inside me, I was like, I'm gonna try these principles to really heal myself. So he said, okay, if you get 2 or 3 weeks, it doesn't matter. But please come back in 3 weeks. So I went home, and I started studying like the whole energetics of healing on a much deeper level. And I got on the first flight I could to Morocco and out to the Sahara Desert, where I've held a lot of yoga retreats there before. because I knew that was the place where I could really be with myself and really feel like strong from inside. So I did meditations, walking meditations, like really listening in for like 6, 7, 8 hours a day. I just lived in meditation. And then after 10 days, I felt like, I felt like I had shifted something in my body. So then I went to the coast for a couple of days, and I was quite relaxed with it then. I just felt like, okay, well, this is the journey I'm going to take, whatever I need to do with it. So I went to the coast and just took long walks and just relaxed. And then, so within 3 weeks, I was then back with my doctor, and I was ready to actually start a treatment, because I wasn't forcing it to say that I'm not going to have a medical treatment. I just wanted to try something alternative. And then I went in for another scan to have the biopsy the next day. And then on the way, in the car on the way to the biopsy, my doctor called and he said, I would like you to come to my office straight away. So I said, and I thought then, okay, he's going to tell me it's much worse and I'm dying, he's going to give me a few weeks to live or something. So I did. And inside his office, he just sat me down and he turned around and he said, I don't know what you've done, but the tumors are like more than half gone. And he said, in 3 weeks for this kind of tumor, I know you have done something. But he said, I'm sitting here wearing a white coat, so I'm not going to ask you what. But he said, I'm going to ask you to go home and continue what you're doing and then come back in 3 months. So that's when I really understood that I had actually managed to shift something in myself that had changed the course of the tumors. So that was as you can imagine, that was just a fantastic step to hear that, and it gave me a lot of like power to continue. And in the next 3 months, I felt like, okay, I need to look deeper into why I created this, and not just what I can do to heal it, but actually what is it in my life that had caused this like energetic shift inside my lungs. So I looked at other healing principles also, and one of the things I found that in that stressful state of a divorce, I don't think I'd actually taken any deep breath for like for years. And it also led me to realize that that's the kind of state a lot of us are living in, with the stress of children today, with the stress of work, with the stress of our lives. We're living in this state of survival. And how that is affecting our bodies, I think it's huge. And I learned to realize that it's not really serving us to live like that at all. And that's something I had to look at, being an entrepreneur. I run 2 companies, I travel a lot, I have a family, I have, 2 homes. And that's, and then I just started to shift my life from that point in, a lot more deeper meditations, as in really relaxation. I was quite you can be quite like a spiritual driven junkie also, like you want a lot and you manifest and you want to have goals and stuff, but if it's not in balance with your health, then what are you doing it for?
Yeah.
And so I continued my journey like that, with really like much deeper living. And then 4 months later, I was back with my doctors and they were completely gone. And that's when he said to me, he said, like, he said again, I'm sitting here with a white coat. He was a really magical old man. So I think I got a good good doctor for it. He wasn't just looking at the treatment here. And he said, I would like to meet you outside this office so you can explain what you've actually done. So we did that. We sat down for a coffee and I explained what I had done. And he said he was really intrigued by that fasting.
That's so amazing. I love everything
Yeah,
that you're describing. I definitely kudos to the doctor. I think first of all, a lot of doctors that I've met or heard about that they have a little bit more problems to acknowledge that there are other ways of healing other
yeah,
than the
yeah,
traditional, Western medicine. But
yes, yes,
what is really what I really love what you're saying is that is really about finding your simplicity in life, because it's not really about adding and the goals and the work and the material stuff. It really is about finding that simple spread that they so it's so simple, it's free kind of thing.
yeah,
And all of us really we don't have that because of our busy lives, because of our stress, because of the competitions and the material world that we live in.
yeah,
So your
yes,
understanding of that is so profound.
yes, yes, and which is it's complex because I think that we should be able to live quite rich and full lives, but in a much more relaxed way. We don't have to rush to get everything. It can just like be created from a very much more peaceful place. And that I think is just it's just so much better for everybody. And I don't think that this. I mean, there's no way. There's no one way for everybody to cure. I mean, one of the things that I started looking at was the chemicals or the hormones in the brain that creates a happiness. So the balance between dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. And now when I look at people or when I'm coaching people, I work very much from that, because when you get that balance right within your happy place, then you can start to create. It's like, okay, some people need to get up in the morning and just feel that dopamine. Other people like me, who's always been overdriven and quite an achiever, I needed to find that place of serotonin and oxytocin where I could just really be most of my days in a very much more relaxed and happy place, because I know I can achieve, I know I can get there, I know I can create stuff and build a company, but I don't have to overdo that. I can be in a very much more relaxed space, and that's such a gift. That's really such a gift. And I remember Joe Dispenza saying that the nervous system and the state of love is the biggest healer, and that was so true for me. That kind of relaxed nervous system, rather than a drive. I got divorced, I lost a lot, and I was trying to recreate, and I was trying to get into overdrive. But what that was doing to my body was not healthy. And that's, in a sense, I'm so glad that I caught it so early that I could just heal it. But yeah, it's really woke me up to realizing that how a lot of us live.
But I think it's a lot of people that I speak with, really, especially people suffering from chronic pain and chronic illness, they are so often they're so triggered, and the nervous system is really all over the place. And not only that they keep going out of states,
Yeah,
fright, flight, all of that, and but also they have some other pressures that they maybe add themselves, like I really need to be healed, or I can't wait to be healed, and it's that state of pressure that they keep adding on. And
yes,
so how do you get from that state? And of course none of it is on purpose, so we're not judging anyone, we're just saying this is kind of how they feel. How do you
yeah.
help them to move from that kind of state to that state of calm when your nervous system is really in a place where it can start helping you with your healing?
Yeah, but it's very important what you say, that it's not I'm not saying this to judge anyone or saying that anyone can heal, because cancer is 200 different diseases. It's a lot. Some of them are a lot more complex, but I think that the emotional states that we live in is very important. And to get out of the emotional state, I actually found a breath work, like breath work every hour, living in that slow pace of breath where you take, 4 breath in and like 4 counts in and 8 counts out continuously during the day. I think that is for me and for other people that I work on the best way to actually get out of a triggered nervous system. Because the problem is, you, like you say, you're living in a stressful state, you create a disease that creates even more stress. Then you want to heal, then you try to heal alternatively, and you want that and you want it so bad, but you're still living in a stressful state. So the days I had at the beach where I'd done all that work and I'd looked at what healed my soul, and then I had like 5 days where I just really relaxed and I really enjoyed the sunset. And I was also kind of, faced with the fact that maybe I will not survive, but I was finding the happiness in the life regardless of what happened. And I think that's a very powerful position, because then you are so relaxed and it can come to you naturally. So I found breath work, and I also found that letting go of emotional triggers is so important. You cannot live being continuously emotional triggered from your ex-partner, your stress of business, your crazy boss. It's just not possible. But on the other hand, when you get into a more loving space, the outside will change naturally in one sense or another. Either you become more loving to them, or they will get out of your life somehow. you know. So
Yeah.
yes, if I'm gonna really, like give one advice, I think it is to live in a calm, positive, like truly relaxed emotion, and to have really breathing through your nervous system. That's, I think, the best healthy state to live in.
And I wanna dig a little bit deeper into that because, like I say, a lot of the time, we have a story. Like I guess in your case was probably all the stress from the divorce and all of that. And but what you're saying is that you were living in that state of stress, and then all of a sudden you had something that said, "Hang on, you have to reevaluate." There is something going on when you found the tumors that you said, "Actually, I can't continue like this." And also that very
Yeah,
important question that you asked yourself, right? Why is it here? How come I've landed myself with this specific tumor and specific location and
yeah,
situation? So you were
yeah,
asking really important questions that are very helpful to start
yeah,
creating this journey of query and digging deeper within yourself.
yeah, yeah,
And but I loved hearing that you've done this, because again, I know how difficult it is for people to say, actually, I can move away from my triggers. I can do something to change my state of emotions and state of mind, because so often this is so ingrained, and there's the overthinking and over worrying and just kind of
yeah,
bringing up all of the past troubles.
yeah,
So
yeah,
so you mentioned the breath walk, and that's obviously helping to start regulating your nervous system.
yeah, yeah.
What else, what else would you recommend people do or think about, or reflect on, to help them get into that mindset? Because I've seen with my clients, I can kind of nearly divide people into, will they make it or will they not? And I'm not talking about life and death. I'm just talking, will they heal or not? And sometimes it feels like there is something missing, like maybe a belief that they actually can heal.
Yeah, yeah,
And it sounds like you do have this, you did have this belief, or probably you still have the belief.
Yes,
But
yeah,
how do you get there? How do you help change that mindset that actually this is just temporary and
yeah,
a
yeah,
place of learning,
yeah.
and I can do something about this?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the inner work of like getting out of victimization. So I think that's the reason why a lot more women are suffering today, because we do have a tendency to kind of overgive, and be be quite um, I don't know, powerless sometimes in the world. And when something happens, we are not able to shift that energy into a state of power. So getting into getting into belief that you can heal it without necessarily knowing exactly how it's going to happen is a very important point also. Um,
Mm.
but to say that will not happen, that will not happen in like every moment of the day, because everybody that I talk to who's gone through a journey like that, or I spoke to somebody yesterday who survived a very, very tough leukemia, and she said she did this work, but she also lived in a lot of fear. And that's important to remember, that this journey is not going to be fearless, but there will be tough moments where you actually have to face your fear, and you're going to have to look at some areas of your life and think that that is really not serving me. I need to say no to that, or I need to say yes to that. But the intention to heal comes when your nervous system is balanced and regulated, because if it doesn't, it's going to add stress. So the base of everything is that relaxed nervous system. Once you're there, you can then create a very powerful intention where you see yourself healed, where you see yourself what you really want to do and how you really want to live. And that's but but unless it comes from a calm, relaxed place, it might actually just trigger you more. And I think this is what you experience it when you have people that don't heal, that they are not quite in that powerful. It's a very powerful, relaxed state where you're like, I think also your right brain takes over, and that's when the imagination happens, and you're like, yes, I'm going to heal, and yes, I'm going to thrive in life, and I'm going to live this life, and it's different from coming from an addictive state where it's like, oh, I need that to heal, or I need that relationship to make me feel good. It's not like that. It's more of a relaxed state where you actually just kind of visualizing and dreaming up your life um, as a healed person.
I love what you're saying. Of course, I know with Dr. Joe Dispenza, that's he, especially with his story, when he
Yeah,
was healing his body from this bicycle accident. And what I really like about that is that, first of all, his story is really goes into that place where you kind of, you never believe this can be possible. When you crashed your spine in this way, it's never going to be healed. And yet, this is, he started at level 55, right? It's like, it's not,
yeah,
it's not,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not like other things, but
yeah,
that already give you that thing that if he could do it, other people, I can do it, other people can do it. And,
yeah,
and, and that, what you're saying is so important, because it's that belief. We really do need to have this belief, or trust at least, that
yeah,
if one person could do it, you can do it. And it's when you're changing how you are, you're changing how you feel, how you believe, how your system is,
yeah,
you can bring more of this, the
yeah,
healing in that
yeah,
calm state.
yeah.
um
I think one of the most important things is the willingness to change, because this this kind of events in your life, if you do them right, they change you and they upgrade you until a much better way of living. But sometimes we're so scared of that change. We're thinking that what we have now is the best, and what we're looking at, the disease or the problems, it's causing us problems in our lives. Whereas, what if they come to make us better? What if they come to as a gift to actually upgrade us into a much better way of being? And
I,
that's
I love that
that
you said.
that's how I feel in my life. Like now, there's nothing but a gratitude for the way it happened. Even though I spent 2 years in anger before the disease, I was like, I can't believe this is happening, and I lost all that, and now I have, now I have cancer on top, and you get into such a low place where it's just pure devastation. Whereas if you look at it from a gift point point of view, and I wonder what this can bring to my life. Life opens up in a completely different way, but it does take courage, And Dr.
Yes.
Joe talks about that all the time. It does. What is courage? What does courage look like?
I love all of that, because I also ask the person, that I'm working with, what is the gift, and sometimes they get very triggered by that question,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
but what I say to people, the way I see it is that you lived through stress and trying your best, and but this was your life, and then at some point your body is saying, hang on, you're not living your full potential. You're not,
yeah,
the life trajectory that you are on is not the one that I planned for you. And
yeah,
so I have to make a shift. Now, maybe I've been trying to give you messages all along and maybe you didn't hear them. So here it is, right? And now let's go through this. It's temporary. I promise you it's temporary. You do the
yeah.
work, you get the lesson, and
That's
off you go into
yeah.
the,
That's
you
a
know,
really
back on
powerful.
track.
Yes, yes. To go through the fire temporarily to get to the other side. That's what it's all about. It's a really powerful point there. And
And
also, like I had to look at things that happened earlier in my childhood. There was an abuse at 5 years old. There was other things that led me to living quite a stressful life, or never being grounded in my body. But that's one of the things also I really faced, that no matter what happened in my early days, in my teenagers, all the bad things, all the traumas that I've sat in therapy for before, kind of, I just had to be really firm with them and say, there's no way that what happened to me as 5, it's gonna keep hurting all my life. And that's, I think today, with all the therapy we've had, all this trauma therapy, all this talk, it's making us quite limited actually. I mean, of course it's important to understand why you're feeling how you are, but why does it keep hurting? And
yeah,
why can we not just free from that one event or that one divorce? Or we can really free ourselves up. And that's, not only can, we must, to not get sick, and to not ever be victimized ever. There's so many people in this world who have had incredible traumatizing stories and still thrive. So that means we can all get there if we just learn how. um, and I think that's a that's a good mindset, for a good
yeah.
life.
I definitely hear you, and but it takes courage, which you spoke about earlier.
Yeah,
To think, actually, out of everything that could have happened, this is what happened in my life.
yeah, yeah,
I can get stuck in the story, in maybe in the victimhood, like you said earlier, or
yeah,
maybe I can say it's here to teach me something and to push me further into that life that I must live,
yeah,
empowered life, and that is more intentional life rather than
yeah,
just on automatic, like a lot of us live our day-to-day life.
yeah.
But I want to know, so now here you are, tumors free, and probably buzzing and on top of the world. what, what happened next?
Well, what happened next is that, I healed that, and obviously I was like, wow, I felt this work is so powerful. After that, there was still a time afterwards where every little headache would be a brain tumor, or like every little mark that I've had all my life. It's like, oh my God, to have it like, so I did have to work through a lot of a lot of fear also. It's like, is this really healed? Is it really possible? Is it really happening? And but yeah, I feel this is also come for a reason to me, and it's a the knowledge I've gathered now from self healing is something that I really want to share, and I really want to get out. So I am starting a practice where I do heal people, and I'm going to run retreats in Sahara for people to come and experience the energy there, um, and have put together all this information into packages. I think it's really wonderful.
And I know that so many of us need exactly that, right? The help and the guidance of someone who's already been through all of that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And and I wanna touch a little bit more on the going back a little bit to the breath walk and the intention that you mentioned.
Yeah,
Um, so the breath walk, I guess you said, like you described earlier, you would find any moment in the day to take a moment to do the breathing to help regulate the
yeah,
nervous system.
yeah.
Tell me more about that practice. What you
But
did with.
breathwork for me is very simple. It's very calming, and it's very, very simple. Um, a lot of the breathwork out there today is also, I think it's like a dopamine high. For me, breathwork is not like that. It's very much about finding my core and finding my energy. It can be, I do it every morning, I do it before I sleep, but I also do it during the day. And if I ever feel overwhelmed, which I am running two companies, i I use the breath to center myself, to feel, okay, what is the right decision in here. So it can be very, very simple. A couple of breaths, like really, when you do 4 breaths in and 8 breaths out, you automatically calm down the nervous system. So anyone that's triggered and does that will feel like a change in the core. Um, and after that, when you're in that system, you're no longer living from that monkey brain of like trying to get you out of a fight or flight. So you take much better decisions. Everything in your life becomes much more stable, much more calm. And it's not like bad things don't happen, but you deal with them in another way, and you see more clearly what needs to be done, and how it's the way forward.
I love that. I love that you're describing that because this talks goes back to that fear thing of change, and actually, obviously, you're looking forward and you're not there yet. So it looks like it's never going to happen, or it's not possible, and you start thinking, what do I need to do to get there? And of course, it's not about doing; it's about letting go and trusting and going within. Um, but when you are saying you're taking this breath and you're more regulated, which means that you're no longer in fear, which means that you can feel your way into that. But it's
Yeah,
all about being kind of taking the step to be more intentional and about how you
yeah,
do anything.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so sorry, I interrupted.
And just also creating from a place of joy, not living in the past where all that had happened, all that trauma, all that, this happened to me, that's for I have this disease because of this, I have, illness, I will never be what I really want to be, how I want to feel. I would never have something because of what happened. To get out of all of that, is regulating and starting to create from the from the from the intentions and from real joy. It's not so complicated to create, really.
Right, right. And so let's touch a little bit about this intention. How do you bring that into the mix of things?
Oh wow, how do I bring that into the mix of things? Well, it just comes to me, I think. That's nothing that I think up, or it's more of a comes from a high dose of self-love, or a love for the world. It's like my companies are run on a, really good intentions for everybody, and I it just, once you're there, I think they come quite naturally. Would you agree, or do you know what I mean there?
I guess, well, I do something. I joined this power of intention walk that
Right.
Lynn McTaggart is running, and so yes, we keep setting intentions to for healing and well being and stuff for the
Yeah.
people in the group. Um, so I am aware of intentions, and I think yes, you're right. We can say to us, right, this is what I intend. This is what I'm, kind of really setting the mindset of what you are open to receive.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I do know what you mean about intentions, but I think yes, what is something that other people that are currently in the healing journey, how can they utilize it for themselves? What is
Well,
a way-
it's just thinking also, what would you do when you're healed? Like, how would life be when you're healed? And start doing that. Rather than sitting and waiting for your healing. Like, how would you be as a person? How would you live? If you were happy, how would you live? If you didn't suffer from that depression, then how would your day progress? Like, simple, because most of it, a lot of us get stuck in this fight and flight, and we have this fear, and we have to control our food massively, and the day just becomes a big like. I see that in so many people, and but really, if you were happy, if you were living from in a state of joy, how would you live your day? Like, what would you plan? And most of that would be filled with joy and filled with good intentions for health and for looking after your body and for being with your family.
yeah.
You know?
I love everything that you're saying, and it's I'm so excited that that you've had this experience, and here you are now, and now you're sharing it with the world, and I really really truly hope that anyone listening or watching take this all of this in, and see that there's so much more than where we are all at right now, and be open to receive and explore.
Yeah.
And on that note, what message would you like to give people listening and watching?
Well, I think it must be a very personal journey, and I think there is no one way to healing because we are all on different paths. So some people need to find more energy. Some people need to slow down. Some people need to find the inner truth. Some people need
Mm,
to find the people around. It's just. But I think the breath and the calm nervous system in the natural state of a love for life, that's the best healer. Like, whatever state you're in now, if you love life, you're going to have a much better chance of healing, if you love it unconditionally. um, and then, information, like, I think this new era of our living will come from a understanding of ourselves. It will come from an understanding of how our brain works, how our energy system works, how the energy around us. I think it will come very much from that. So do the studies until you're healed.
mm,
Look for the information that's gonna trigger your healing, and don't just. I spoke to a friend of mine who's quite a depressed state, and he said one day he'd read all the symptoms of the medication he had to take, and he was so scared of that. And I said to him, if you can read all of that information online, why don't you read something instead that supports your healing? And he just started laughing. I said, like, the information is so important. Like, it's all out there with the internet today. You can really find the inspiring stories, a lot of them on your podcast, but you can find the information, right? It's all there.
I love what you're saying. I just started writing my book. It's called Energy to Heal. It will be called Energy to Heal, and I love that. you with your story and your energy is exactly that, because it's really taking something that, when you are in the energy of illness, then you are in the story and you are in the, will it ever be possible and stuff, but actually you already raised your energy to that place of healing and of loving and of finding joy in things. And I'm not saying you don't have bad days, because of course we all do,
Yeah,
but it's not about that. It's really about that journey and the, and your being, your joy,
yeah, yeah,
your truth. And I'm so
yes,
excited. It's
yeah, yeah,
For me, it's exactly that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just start to live as if you're healed already, because that will balance who you were before and who you need to become.
Right. Amazing. Well, Anakarin, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story and your wisdom. And I'm sure people will be inspired by this story. And for anyone watching or listening, please do get in touch with Anakarin to learn more from her. And if you have any questions or comments, let us know. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks.